Why do we sit here being silent, watching our leaders turn into tyrants? Have they forgotten which side they're fighting for? Checks and balances set aside and rule of laws, youth and ours, and Constitution openly ignored. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Is it time for right and left to join a greater cause? Man, I'm not okay. The rich claim to be victimized just to attack the marginalized. Is 1% really worth more than all the sick and poor? Always preaching about fellowship while planning their dictatorship. Now we've seen how all of this plays out before. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call. Man, I'm not okay. Ever wonder all the mystery? Why they whitewash our history? Keep dividing is their plan. All in all, such a scam. Algorithm very sly, only used to spread the lies. Politicians know well, hate is simple to upsell. Man, I'm not okay. Think we are being played. Time for you and I to join our country's call.
We are not okay. America is not okay, and we all know that. Former Congressman Joe Walsh, this is The Social Contract with Joe Walsh. Let's figure out how to get okay together. Hey, I have no interest. I've got zero interest in making sense this morning. I'm pissed off about something and I've got to lay down a truth. I'm tired of people not focusing on this truth, right? Okay, the predicate, the context is this. We have a fucking monster in the White House. This country, the greatest, oldest democracy in the world, has a fascist monster in the White House. And that's a fact. And I'm tired. I'm so damn tired of always pointing a finger at that horrible man, at that idiot, at that fascist, at that pathological liar, at that ignoramus, at that utterly cruel human being, at that corrupt human being, at that lawless son of a bitch in the White House. I'm tired every day. And I don't want to do it anymore. There's a whole fucking cottage industry out there. A lot of people making money every day screaming about, yelling about that fascist monster in the White House. And a lot of people spend their whole day doing that, pointing a finger at him. I'm outraged about him. And a lot of people have monetized how to do that. I have zero interest in doing that. There is a purpose every day in reminding people every single day of what that fascist monster is doing. There's a purpose in pointing a finger at him every day, so that the American people, you put in front of the American people every single day what's in the White House, what he's doing to oppose every fucking thing this country stands for. There's a purpose in pointing a finger at him every day. But man, I'm tired of everybody thousands of times every day pointing a finger at him, when the truth is this. The Republican Party's to blame. My former political party is to blame for the fact that we have the absolute worst of us in the White House. We have a fascist monster in the White House. We have a sociopath in the White House. We have someone who believes he's above the law in the White House. We have someone who is openly corrupt in the White House. And I'm tired of always blaming him. You're to blame. The Republican Party is to blame. My former political party, every single Trump voter is to blame. Every Trump follower is to blame. All of you, all of my former colleagues in Congress, you, John Thune, you're to blame. Bill Cassidy, you're to blame. Jim Jordan, you're to blame. Mike Johnson, you're to blame. Mike Lee, you're to blame. Ted Cruz, you are to blame. It's your fault, Ted Cruz, Tom Cotton. It's your fault. You are to blame for the fact that we have the very thing our founding fathers feared in the White House. You're to blame. We don't say this enough. We don't say this enough. And sometimes I make the mistake because I do believe we get the government we deserve. And America deserves that guy in the White House because America put him there twice. And everything he's doing right now to disintegrate our democracy, to absolutely obliterate the rule of law, every unprecedented, corrupt, lawless thing, stupid thing, ignorant thing. People are dying because of him. The economy is tanking because of him. Young people are growing up in this country, right? Because we've normalized him. Young people in this country are growing up thinking this is what America is, right? Like the president, right? He can appoint his own personal lawyer to become the attorney general, and they can work together and do whatever the fuck they want to do. Like young people in America are thinking this is normal. You're to blame for that, Ted Cruz. You are to blame for that. Marco Rubio, you're to blame. Pete Hegseth, you're to blame. Hey, Sean Hannity, you're to blame. Every one of my former right-wing media colleagues, you are all to blame. I am so fucking tired of all of us in the media, on podcasts, on Substack, on social media, railing against and about Trump every day. We should be railing against the people, about the people who created this, allowed this, enabled this, helped this fascist monster get into the White House and do everything he's doing right now. And the latest, right? You're to blame. Hey, John Thune, you're to blame. Mike Johnson, you're to blame. Every single fucking Republican in the House and Senate, you're to blame for this. Donald Trump is openly stealing $1.8 billion from American taxpayers to create his own slush fund to reward his political friends and go after his political enemies. And there's nothing anybody can do about it. It's never been done before. It's unprecedented. It's completely wrong. It's utterly corrupt. It's all out there. He's stealing $1.8 billion from American taxpayers to enrich insurrectionists and to go after his political enemies. And he's doing this in broad daylight. And he's doing this, why? Because the Republican fucking Party is letting him. Every Republican in Congress, every Republican in his cabinet, his personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, who happens to be Attorney General, they're all to blame. Trump's a fucking monster. He's Frankenstein. But man, I'll go to my grave knowing the truth. And every one of these Republicans will go to their graves knowing the truth as well. They created Frankenstein. This is just the latest. We've talked before, I've talked before, about how openly corrupt Trump is. Again, I can't blame him. Republicans opened the door years ago and said, "Dear leader, you can be as corrupt as you want. We will never hold you accountable." So he's openly corrupt. Trump's voters, folks I engage with every day, they told Trump years ago, "Dear leader, you can lie as much as you want. We don't care. You can steal and cheat as much as you want. We don't care. You can break any law. You, dear leader, are above the law. You can personally enrich yourself as much as you want. We don't care, dear leader." I mean, my God, you're going to blame Trump? My God, you're going to blame Trump, my God, for thinking he's a God? For thinking he's Jesus Christ, the guy, right, who posts memes of himself as divine, as God and Jesus? You're going to blame Trump for doing that shit? No. You blame. I blame. Every fucking Trump follower, Trump cultist, Trump voter, every fucking Republican in Congress, every fucking right-wing media talker who told this president day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, "Dear leader, you can do whatever the fuck you want. We adore you." So why blame Trump for creating a $1 billion taxpayer-funded slush fund to reward his political friends and go after his political enemies? Why blame Trump for doing this? Y'all told him he could. Republicans, you told him he could. John Thune, you're a handsome dude, but you told him he could. All of you did. Every single one of you Republicans. Sean Hannity, Laura Ingraham, Jesse Waters, all of you goofballs on Fox, man, you told him he could do shit like this. What'd you say? We've never seen anything. Well, fuck that. Of course we've never seen anything like this. My God, Republicans, I don't know, right? We'd never seen anything like what we saw 6 years ago when an American president actually lost an election. And for the first time in American history, he said, "Fuck you, American people. I don't accept the result." We'd never seen anything like that. Whoa. Lose an election, doesn't concede? Whoa. Never seen that before. And then he fucking commits crimes to try to overthrow an American election. We've never seen anything like that before. But you know what you did, Republicans? You know what you did, Trump voters? You know what you did, you cowardly ass Republicans in Congress? You done put him in power again. You gave him the keys again. I've said this before. If I lost a presidential election and I refused to accept the results, refused to concede, and then I broke every law I could break to try to overthrow that American election, and my peeps put me back in power, put me back in the White House after all of what I did, I would think, I would believe I'm untouchable. I would believe I could do whatever I want. I'd believe that I could steal $1.8 billion from American taxpayers, right? And with no accountability, no oversight, no nothing, I can steal $1.8 billion from American taxpayers and use it to reward the January 6th insurrectionists. I can do that. And I can use it to go after my political enemies. I can do whatever I want because my voters, Republicans in Congress, everybody on Fox News has told me I could do whatever I want as I almost break my computer. Don't you blame Trump. Blame Republicans. Don't take it out on Trump. Take it out on Republicans in November. You know the deal. You know the details. Trump sues the IRS. Trump, because he can do whatever he wants, because Republicans told him he can do whatever he wants. So Donald Trump sues the IRS for $10 billion. He's trying to grab $10 billion from American taxpayers. He agrees to drop that suit if the Justice Department, his Justice Department, will give him $1.8 billion that he can do with whatever he wants. And that's what he's done. That's what he's done. He's created a $1.8 billion taxpayer funded slush fund with absolutely no accountability, no oversight. He's working with his attorney general, who happens to be his personal lawyer, Todd Blanche. And Todd Blanche will pick 5 friends of Trump to oversee this $1.8 billion taxpayer funded slush fund. Friends of Trump that Trump will use. Hey, by the way, that Trump will use to do what? Sure, reward the January 6th criminals that he's already pardoned. He'll financially reward them. He'll financially reward his friends. He'll use the money also, taxpayer money, to go after his political opponents. What else is Donald Trump going to use $1.8 billion for? Create his own private militia to keep himself in the White House? Create his own private militia, right, to prevent the midterms from happening? Who knows, right? Who knows? Who's going to tell him what he can't do with this money? He can do whatever he wants with this money because Republicans have told him he can. To understand how unprecedented this is, how wrong this is, and how corrupt this is, to the folks listening to me right now who can still kind of sort of reason and are kind of sort of objective, I want you to imagine. I want you to imagine with me right now to understand how wrong this is. How wrong I know you know it is. Imagine, just imagine, a President Barack Obama. First of all, imagine President Barack Obama appoints his personal lawyer to be the Attorney General of these United States. Just imagine that. Imagine the outroar about that. Imagine how many heart attacks Sean Hannity would have had about that. President Obama picks his own personal lawyer to be the top law enforcement officer in this country. Imagine that. And then imagine President Obama, and his attorney general, again, who's his personal lawyer. And just imagine President Barack Obama has just, broken down that wall of separation between the Justice Department and the White House. Obama's just open about it, right? Imagine President Barack Obama just open about it. That guy, the Attorney General, he works for me, not the American people. He's going to do what I say when it comes to the law and justice in this country. Imagine President Barack Obama did that. And then imagine President Obama and his Attorney General hatched up this plan. After President Obama had sued the IRS for $10 billion, and then Obama agreed to drop the suit against the IRS. So then Obama and his Attorney General hatched this plan to create a $1.8 billion taxpayer-funded slush fund that Obama was going to use to go after his political enemies and reward his political friends. And imagine Obama and his Attorney General set this thing up, never been done before, right? Unprecedented. They set up this slush fund purposely without any outside accountability, any outside oversight. And Obama's Attorney General announces that 5 friends of Obama will oversee the slush fund. And then when Obama and his Attorney General start spending money from this $1.8 billion taxpayer-funded slush fund, the American people have no idea, no clue where the money goes, who it goes to, what it goes for. Friends of Obama only are overseeing the fund. No transparency, no accountability. Imagine a President Barack Obama did something like that. It would be unprecedented, right? Man, it would be just so wrong, so corrupt. How could, wait a minute, excuse me, President of the United States, you can't just grab. Congress didn't appropriate money for this. Congress has no oversight of this. Obama, you can't do this. This is just corruption. You're stealing, President Obama, $1.8 billion. You've utterly compromised the Justice Department. This is so corrupt and so wrong. It's never been done, right? Like the American people would say, this is just wrong, right? And Sean Hannity and everybody else on Fox News would be fucking screaming every day and night, right? Now, if you can imagine a President Barack Obama doing that, and somewhere in the corner of your mind, somewhere you understand and you acknowledge this is bad. This isn't right. He's the president is not a dictator. He's not a strong man. He can't just grab $1.8 billion on his own and corrupt the Attorney General and they create a fund of our money to go after his political enemies and reward his friends. Most Americans, when thinking about this, privately would say, this is really bad and this is really wrong. And the point I'm trying to make is Trump's doing this right now. Don't need to imagine. Trump's doing this. And not one fucking Republican publicly has said anything. Not one Republican in Congress has said anything. Fox News, right-wing media is basically ignoring it or praising it. I engage with hundreds of Trump's voters every day. I've been doing it for years. It's part of what I have to do. It's my penance. I haven't heard nary a Trump voter in the last couple days raise any objection to this. They've all deflected. They've all gone defensive. They've all said, but Biden. They've all said, but whatever. They're to blame. Do you see? Do you see the problem? Do you see the problem here? It's built to this. We're talking about a president who, in the last 2 months, committed some 3,700 stock trades. Donald Trump is just openly profiting off of things he does in the White House. He's trading stocks at a clip. The president of the United States is trading stocks, making money in the market at a clip that nobody else in this country is. He's the president of the United States. Wrong? Corrupt? Yeah. Who's going to stop him? See, who's to blame? Who's going to stop him? We don't have a Congress. What have I been saying for the last 17, 18 months? This is what America looks like without a Congress. We do not have a Congress. Every one of my former Republican colleagues in Congress, when they raised their right hand back in January of 2025, right? A year ago, January, they all took an oath. They swore to defend Donald Trump. They did not swear to defend the Constitution. We have been living without a Congress. Who's to blame? They are. Republicans run Congress. They're to blame. You're pissed off at Trump? Blame every fucking... Hey, you're pissed off at Donald Trump? I need you to take it out on every single Republican in November. Vote against every single Republican up and down the ballot in November. This is what America looks like with two branches of government. You know, one other really disturbing aspect of this taxpayer-funded slush fund. Reported yesterday that there's a January 6th offender convicted, and Trump pardoned him. And there are a number of these January 6th insurrectionists. Trump pardoned all of them who've gone on to commit other crimes. A January 6th offender, an insurrectionist, pardoned, freed, down in Florida 2 months ago, molested an 11-year-old boy. And reportedly, he told the 11-year-old boy just a couple months ago who he molested after he was picked up. He told the 11-year-old boy, keep quiet. If you keep quiet, I'll give you money because I'm going to have money from a special government fund that's going to be created for me. You heard that right. Just 2 months ago down in Florida, there's a January 6th offender who's got his hand out, who is waiting for this slush fund, who's been waiting for this slush fund, who molested an 11-year-old boy. And to try to keep that 11-year-old boy silent, he promised him payments from a future fund coming his way. Every Trump voter is to blame. I'll be provocative. Every Trump voter is to blame, not Trump, for where we are now. We have a fascist monster in the White House who believes he can do whatever he wants. And the latest is he's stealing $1.8 billion from American taxpayers and using that money to go after his political enemies and reward his political friends. Every Trump voter is to blame for this, not Trump. Every right wing media, Tucker, is to blame for this, not Trump. Every Republican in Congress is to blame for this, not Trump. Everyone in Trump's cabinet, everyone like Marco Rubio who sold their soul, everybody who works for Trump and keeps their mouths shut, they're to blame for this, not Trump. That's just the hard truth. And we don't put out that hard truth enough because we all just scream about Trump every day. I think it's about time we all embraced that truth and placed the blame for where we are right now, where that blame belongs, man. All of his enablers, all of his followers, all of his cultists, all of his sycophants, all of his cheerleaders, all of his fanboys, most of whom all know better. I know most of my former Republican colleagues in Congress know better. And again, I do this. You don't do this. For years now, I've been engaging with Trump voters every single day. I know most Trump voters still know right from wrong. But they've all kept their mouths shut. By the way, somebody yelling at me here when I opined that Donald Trump might use this slush fund to create his own private militia to try to prevent people from voting this November, create his own private militia to try to keep himself in the White House after 28. You're going to tell me I'm wrong? You're going to tell me I'm crazy for even considering such a thing? Really? Seriously? After everything Trump's done, you're going to say I'm crazy for even imagining such a thing? Respectfully, I mean this respectfully, fuck you. The greatest failure of these Trump years, outside of Republican cowardice, the greatest failure of these Trump years is the failure of imagination. We've just never sufficiently imagined how bad this guy would get. We've never sufficiently imagined how much Republicans would let him get away with. And because we've never imagined, right? Like we never imagined January 6th. We never imagined that a president would not accept the results of an American election. We never imagined such a thing. We never imagined that a president would use disaster relief politically and only send disaster relief to cities and counties and states that voted for him, and not allow disaster relief, federal disaster relief, to go to cities and counties and states that didn't vote for him. We never imagined that there'd be an American president who would do such a thing. I think it's time that we finally imagine the worst when it comes to Trump so that we can be prepared for the worst. But never forget who's to blame. And in your heads and in your hearts, in your bones, understand and publicly preach to who's to blame. Every Trump voter, every single Republican, everybody in right-wing media, they're to blame for creating this Frankenstein, this fascist monster who would steal $1.8 billion from American taxpayers. One other quick point, Keith, and I'll take 30 seconds with this. Can you show me that Hegseth headline? I refuse to live in this kind of a country. which is why even at my age, and I'm 94 years old, I look damn good for 94. But even at my age, I'm going to fight until my last drop to not live in a country where the Secretary of Defense is spending his time on politics, campaigning down in a congressional district in Kentucky, while American boys and girls, men and women are deployed at war overseas. Pete Hegseth was in Kentucky yesterday. Thanks, Keith. Campaigning against Thomas Massey in a House district. The Secretary of Defense, while this country is at war, while that Secretary of Defense has troops under his command, putting their lives in harm's way. No matter what you think of the war, and I don't like the war, and I don't support the war, Trump launched the war was wrong, stupid, all of that. But we're at war right now, a war we chose. And while our men and women are at war right now, the Secretary of Defense is campaigning in a congressional district in Kentucky. Forget about Pentagon norms and all the rest. Yeah, we blew by all of that shit a long time ago. Donald Trump gets in front of our troops, gives a speech in front of our men and women in uniform, and he gets ugly and partisan and political, and you're not supposed to do that. Presidents are not supposed to do that. Secretaries of Defense are not supposed to engage in politics. But forget all of that, man. Forget all of that. They can do whatever they want because Republicans have told them they can. I don't, and I refuse to live in a country where this kind of thing goes on. That's all for now. HopeNotFearProject.org. There it is. That's the other half of me. I live a double life. Every day I scream about my former party. And oh, by the way, every day I scream about the excesses of the far left. But then I spend half of every one of my days trying to help regular Americans better understand each other, better listen to each other. So I go around the country every 2 weeks and I put regular Americans in a room who politically disagree, and we have tough, honest conversations. We film these tough, honest conversations so that the American people will start doing this on their own, because no matter how fucked up our politicians are, our political class are, our political media is, if regular Americans stay on this road where we hate the people we disagree with, democracy's done. It's called HopeNotFearProject.org. HopeNotFearProject.org. Check out some of the latest conversations we have up there. It's a 501c3 educational effort. If you are in the mood, we'd love your support. Support what we're doing, trying to help regular Americans better listen to each other and better understand each other. Hey, you want to send me an email? Do thesocialcontractwithjoewalsh@gmail.com. That's all one word, thesocialcontractwithjoewalsh@gmail.com. Final thing I want to mention is I have a Substack. Everything I do, say, think, write, taste, feel, yell about is on my Substack. socialcontractwithjoewalsh.substack.com. socialcontractwithjoewalsh.substack.com. If you find any value in my voice and you want to help me keep my voice out there, become a subscriber to my Substack. Greatly appreciated. Have a good day. Thanks, everybody. Be brave.
Thank you for listening. Remember to listen, follow, and share The Social Contract with Joe Walsh on Apple, Spotify. Plus, don't forget to subscribe to The Social Contract on Substack. This has been The Social Contract with Joe Walsh.